All right. I'm K. Rankleves, your professor for politics, and also your worst nightmare. Uh, no, just kidding. I have to use these kind of teacher jokes when I'm using a whiteboard and being a professor in politics. Um, as to add on to that, I also my previous recording failed. I feel like a complete teacher right now. But anyways, I'm going to give this lesson now. Okay. The Roman political system. In Rome, there is an emperor, and the emperor has a well, he dictates whatever we do. I mean, he can do that, but in practice, we have an emperor that is very much hands off when it comes to politics. Because of course it's a Lego game. So there is a sovereign institution for starters, and we call it the Senate. Oh, what's happened? Okay. By the way, my blackboard, you will see it often. You have every right to complain about my writing. It is also very hard to write on this thing, but it helps you and me to visualize things. So I am using this anyways. Okay, Senate. Senate is a sovereign institution. Why? Because they can create legislation about anything they want in the empire, unless it is overruled. I mean, forbidden or overruled, as I said, by the imperials, by the um, deputy magister equitum, by the magister equitum, by the emperor himself. For the rest, the institution of the Senate can create legislation on anything they want. Um, in the meanwhile, before I get to this, you have to separate the idea from the collective of the Senate and me, Cairo Enclaves. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is a terrible representation of myself. Me, Cairo, as a senator, okay? The collective of the Senate, that includes very much senators, like 50 senators, has the power to edit the constitution, has the power to create legislation. Me, the senator, Cairo Enclaves, I have no power at all when it comes to my senatorial position. Okay. Uh, okay. 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 Actually, I'll let myself on the board. Okay. Um. So yeah, don't forget there's a difference between senator and the senatorial institution. Okay. I'm getting into this really quickly, but so we've got the Senate, the sovereign institution, the one and only, and then there is the plebeian council, PC in short. Um, the plebeian council is exactly the same as the Senate, except for the fact that the Senate is superior to the PC in a constitutional way. I'm not saying this because I feel superior. It is how it is. It is in the Constitution. The plebeian council, when they pass legislation, it has to be approved by the Senate. Okay, so then what is the purpose of the plebeian council? Okay, being a politician in the like dropping into the Senate is not something that will happen. Okay, um, in the PC you learn how to be a politician. You learn how to write legislation, how to run for magistrates, how to be a magistrate, and so on. So the PC is really a learning place, a stepping stone for beginning politicians, and also for politicians that do not like the competitivity in the Senate. The Senate is if politics were a football game, Senate was the major league, and then PC was the like the normal was like the amateurs, the people that just do it for fun. Okay, but it still is an important learning place. A lot of former PC members are right now in the Senate. So for the Senate, the PC is good in a way that it provides new senators. Okay, But do never forget that the PC is constitutionally inferior to the Senate. So if you're ever going to be a plebeian tribune, do not make the mistake of thinking I'm going to make PC more independent. I want PC to be equal to the Senate, or I want PC to have more power. It's not going to happen. I once was in PC too. I once had this idea too, and it's wrong to think like that because every plebeian tribune who went with that combative mindset into their term got removed by the Senate because the Senate is the sovereign institution and they control whatever happens in the empire. So yeah, very important to keep in mind. Okay, so what do these institutions do? They create, edit, and remove legislation. That's what it means to be a sovereign institution or to have sovereign imperium. On the index of legislation, of which the link you can find in the Discord here, information, index of legislation right here. This is right it. You will see all the active legislation and then titles and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about this. So this is all the active legislation that is currently active in our Rome. On this index of legislation, you will find in the Constitution legislative classifications. You will find all the kinds of laws there is, all the kinds of legislative rules you can pass. I will run with you through the most important ones. We've got a lex / ordinatio. These two are both laws, okay? They are permanent laws. They are basically the same. They stay on the ordinatio. The only difference between a lex and an ordinatio is, in theory, that a lex is something that is enforced by UC, is actively enforced at the province, and an ordinatio is not. An ordinatio is just a collective text of rules, is not enforced by the UC. When will you ever... Okay, no. A lex or ordinatio is how you're going to find them on the index. If you see right here, lex simplus, voila, there it is. My board, okay. So yeah, you will find them like that on the index, because once these laws were proposed to the Senate and they were accepted. The only time you're going to propose a new law, as in lex or ordinatio, is when you really want to create a new law that will be added on the index. Okay. If you want to edit a law, you will use what's called a referro. Okay, a referro means basically that you will edit the law, an existing law, and once it passes the political body, which can be the Senate or PC, it becomes the new law. Well, basically, the edit shall just indexed upon the existing law, and boom, your added clauses are the new law. Okay, referro edits a law or ordinatio or a constitution, of course, which is basically, yeah. I will just put this in between. The Constitution is often referred to as the canon of legislation, because it is above all the other legislation. The Constitution says how legislation needs to be made, okay? So, for example, here in the Senatorial Systematic Code of Conduct, it will say how many votes that need to be passed and stuff like that, okay? It will also determine that the constitution here is above the law and all that. That the blah 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 blah. That the imperials are above the law. Blah blah blah. Okay, so the constitution is the foundation of all other legislation. It is also above all other legislation, meaning that all other legislation needs to abide by the constitution. Okay. A second important job of the constitution is to limit the power of the council. You will see the longest, like there's a long list of senatorial magistrates, but the longest amount of clauses is without a doubt the consuls, because the council has sovereign opinion. That means that they can edit legislation as they want, creating legislation as they want, and removing legislation as they want. And to give one person so much power means that it is only safe enough to create enough rules to make sure that they do not abuse it. Like, for example, these are without a doubt the most important clauses, the most important safeguards of this law. F and G. The consuls may not veto or autopass any exit proposed against themselves. Reasonable. And they may not either autopass anything that gives them more power. For example, like if you're a Star Wars fan, consuls cannot announce themselves, I don't know, chancellor, and then become the second emperor or something. They cannot do that, and this clause prevents them from doing so. What does that mean? The constitution is the only legislative body, legislative text that can chain down the power of the council. Okay, any other law the council can. If Brain wants to remove Lex Simplus tomorrow, he can just do that. He can, and no one people will will ask questions, and he will be removed from his position if he does so without a decent reason. But you get the idea. Okay, so back to this, and then there is what's called a modus. Okay, plural moti, singular modus. Okay, a modus has the same legislative power as a lex, except that the modus is basically when you propose a modus, you ask for something to happen once. Like, you want something to happen once. So, for example, reinstate the plebeian podium. Okay. A modus to reinstate the plebeian podium. You want the plebeian podium to be reinstated at the province. Once that the modus has passed and the person the devs got the order, the modus stops existing. Okay, it's a one-time thing. It's not going to. Okay, it's going to be posted on the index, just as a formal means to say, hey, there was a modus passed by the Senate, but it's not going to be. It doesn't stay. Okay, it fades away. So that's why a referral is different from a modus and from a law, because of the one-time character of it. Okay, so this is basically an introduction to the Roman political system. Okay. I think I've said everything that needs to be said for an introduction. Okay, I will leave it at this for this lesson. I will spare you, and I will let y'all know when the next lesson is going to take place. Alright, so yeah.